Hey everyone. Before we dive into today's story, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment letting me know where you're watching from and what time it is there. It really helps YouTube recommend more stories like this one to you. Alright, let's jump right in.
The elevator lights flickered as I rode up to the 14th floor. It was nearly 11:45 p.m., and the air inside the lift felt off, not cold, exactly, but stale, like no one had used it in a while. Which didn't make sense, since the building was supposedly packed with tenants. I held the bag of Chinese takeout in one hand, extra spicy General Tso's, egg rolls, and a pint of hot and sour soup. No drinks, paid in full. In cash. That's what caught my attention from the start. Nobody pays in cash anymore. Not through the app. But this order had come through like a normal delivery. Except the tip field was blank, and under payment method, it said simply, cash prepaid. Weird, but not unheard of. Some people still liked it old school. I stepped out of the elevator and into a carpeted hallway lined with dim wall sconces. Apartment 14B was to the left. The hallway was silent, no TVs, no muffled voices, not even plumbing noise. Just a deep, low hum that could have been the building's HVAC. Or something else. I walked to the door. The number plate was cracked, hanging slightly crooked. The hallway light above it flickered twice, then held steady. I knocked. Nothing. I knocked again, louder this time, still nothing. But then the door creaked open about 2 inches. Not fast, just slow, deliberate. It didn't hit a chain lock or anything. It just stopped, barely ajar. Like someone had opened it, then walked away. I waited. Hello? Delivery for Dan? Silence. I could smell the inside of the unit. Dust. Old wood. Something like rotting paper. I leaned forward slightly, trying not to step in. Hello? I've got your order. No answer. I looked down and saw the envelope. Right inside the doorway, just past the threshold, was a white envelope. Folded crisp. Labeled in black Sharpie, delivery guy. My gut tightened. Everything about this felt wrong, but the building looked normal enough. The address matched. The order was real. I stepped in. Just 1 foot. The place was completely dark. No lights on. No movement. Just the soft sound of air moving through vents, except it didn't sound like air. It sounded like whispering. Like someone just out of sight, talking softly. To no one. I crouched, grabbed the envelope, and stood again fast, still nothing. I turned to leave and saw a second door. At the end of the short hallway, maybe 20 feet inside, was what looked like a bedroom door, closed, no light beneath it. Just there, watching me. I left. Quickly. Back in the hallway. The door eased shut behind me without a sound. I didn't look back. I didn't want to open the envelope in the elevator. It felt like a trap. But when I reached my car, I locked the doors and turned on the dome light. Inside was $100 in crisp bills. And a note. Just 1 sentence, printed in all caps. Thank you for feeding him. I stared at the note until the dome light clicked off. My chest felt tight. Like the air wasn't going all the way in. Who the hell was him? I thought about going back. About knocking again. But my instinct screamed don't. So I drove off. Didn't even mark the delivery as complete until I was halfway across town. Later that night, around 2 a.m., I couldn't sleep. I kept replaying that door the way it hung open, like it wanted me to walk in. The smell. The whispering. So I looked up the building online. It was an older complex. Late 80s construction. And according to some old Reddit thread, Apartment 14B had a bit of a reputation. Posts from 3 years ago mentioned that it had been vacant since a murder-suicide in 2019. Something about a man who had barricaded himself inside with his teenage son. He claimed the boy had stopped being human. Said he only came out when he was hungry. Neighbors reported banging on the walls, screams, the sound of chewing. When the cops finally forced entry, the apartment was empty. No bodies. No blood. Just a table set for two. And a half-eaten meal. The next day, I went to my boss at the delivery company. I showed him the app screenshot and asked who placed the order. He blinked, confused. What order? I gave him the time, address, everything. He pulled up the records. There was no delivery logged to that address. No cash option on file. No payment received. He even showed me the backend. Nothing. Like the order never happened. Like I'd made it all up. But I had the envelope. The cash, the goddamn note. Must have been someone who knew how to spoof the app, he said finally. Hackers or something. But his face said he didn't believe it either. I didn't deliver in that part of town for a while. Actually, I stopped taking night shifts altogether. Until last week. It had been months, and I was behind on rent. I told myself it was all in my head. That grief or guilt or some subconscious thing had played a trick on me. But then, it happened again. Same app. Same weird cash instruction. Different address, but something about it felt the same. Like the same person or thing was ordering again. And this time, I wish I hadn't knocked. I wish I hadn't stepped inside. Because this time, I didn't just grab an envelope. I saw him, and he saw me. I shouldn't have taken the shift. I told myself I was over it, that it was just one freak delivery and I needed the money. But when the order came in, same Chinese place, same exact items, same instruction, CAS prepaid, my stomach dropped. Different address this time. A townhouse on the edge of the city. But the whole thing felt too familiar. I sat in the parking lot for 10 minutes, engine running, the takeout bag sitting in the passenger seat like it was radiating heat. It wasn't. I checked the receipt. Lukewarm at best, I told myself. Drop it, take the envelope, go. That's it. That's all. It was one of those new developments, quiet, clean, still half empty. The streetlights buzzed, not flickering but dim. Almost like the light was being pulled inward instead of shining outward. I knocked twice. No answer. I was about to leave the bag on the stoop when I noticed something taped to the doorframe. A white envelope, just like last time. Same handwriting. Delivery guy. I took a step closer. That's when I smelled it. Not rot. Not garbage. It smelled like old breath. Warm, wet, and wrong. My skin crawled. I grabbed the envelope. Turned to leave. But the door opened. Just a little. Just enough. The same as before. Inside, it was pitch black. No light. No sound. No one said a word. But I could feel eyes on me. Like standing in front of a cracked door at night and knowing someone's pressed up against it on the other side. Just not breathing. I didn't want to look, but I did. The hallway was narrow, empty, a rug. Framed photo on the wall. Looked like a family, but the faces were blurred, like the glass had been wiped with grease. The smell was stronger. Not just breath now. Something raw. Like wet carpet and meat that had been microwaved. I turned back to the door, and it was open wider. Didn't touch it. I took one step backward. The bag still in my hand. I should have dropped it, run. But a voice from inside whispered, low and hoarse, "You brought food." Again, my heart slammed. It didn't sound human. Not robotic. Not monster-like. Just off too dry. Too slow. Like it had to think between syllables. I dropped the bag. I'm leaving. No answer. I turned and walked fast. Didn't run. Not yet. Not until I got to my car. But as I reached the sidewalk, I heard something move inside the townhouse. Something heavy, dragging across the floor. And then, the sound of chewing. Wet, sloppy, like someone eating with their mouth wide open and their face too close to the floor. I didn't sleep that night. I locked my doors. Triple-checked every window. I kept that envelope sealed until morning. When I finally opened it, I expected another $100 or some weird note, but this one didn't have money. Just a photograph of me standing in the doorway, holding the bag, looking confused. It was taken from inside the house, behind me, like someone had been right there, just inches away. I went to the police. They were polite but checked out halfway through the story, said it was probably a prank or someone trying to scare me. They took the photo, ran it for prints. Nothing came up. I asked about the townhouse. They confirmed it was vacant, still listed for sale. No power, no tenant. No recent VIEWINGs. No fingerprints on the door. I quit delivery 2 days later. Didn't tell anyone why. Just stopped. Found work in a bookstore instead. Felt safer. Until last week. I got home and found another envelope on my porch. Plain white. No stamp. No markings. Just 2 words. He's hungry. Inside was a napkin from the same Chinese place, soaked through with something dark and greasy. It smelled like the hallway. I moved 3 days ago. New city. New number. New job. But tonight I found something taped to my apartment door. A receipt for General Tso's extra spicy egg rolls. Hot and sour soup. No drinks. CAS a prepaid. Delivery address, my name, apartment. This Onay didn't open the door. I won. T opened the door. But I can hear it again. The sound of something wet. Something heavy. Chewing. Right outside. The second my GPS lost signal, I knew I'd screwed up. Not because of the delivery, I was on time. Order was hot, double-bagged, seat belted in the passenger seat, like a damn person. It was everything else. No lights. No houses, no cell towers. No service. And that narrow-ass road? Definitely not meant for cars. I was out past Pulaski County, Kentucky, where the fields stretch out like empty ocean and the trees are too close together. The delivery address had seemed like any other rural drop. A farmhouse, a long driveway. Maybe an old guy with a deep freezer full of venison and stories about the war. Instead, I was rolling down a road that wasn't even paved anymore. Gravel faded into packed dirt, and even that felt like it had forgotten what tires were. My GPS had suddenly cut out with this one glitchy, robotic warning. Turn around. No follow-up. No reroute. Just turn around. But there was nowhere to turn. Literally. The road was maybe 8 feet across. Trees hugged both sides. There was a ditch on my right, a slope on the left. I'd have to reverse a 1/4 mile just to maybe find a wide enough shoulder. And this place? It was quiet. Not peaceful quiet. Dead quiet. No birds. No bugs. No wind. Just the crunch of my tires and the low hum of my own nerves unraveling. I told myself to chill. Deliver the food. Get the hell back. Laugh about it later. I glanced at the printed order again. Customer name: Joshua. Address: 122. 7 Birch Lane. Special instructions: gate will be open. Please leave food at the porch and don't knock. Okay. That wasn't creepy at all. The last turn I'd made, a sharp right off State Road 192, had taken me through a rusted cattle gate that was open. No lights, no signs, just the kind of thing serial killers dream of. I kept driving. 20 miles per hour, tops. My headlights stretched barely far enough to show how little was ahead. Trees leaned over the road like they wanted to listen. Then I saw it, a shape. Low and dark, a mailbox. Metal, beat up. No numbers, no flag. Just rust. Next to it was a narrow driveway made of uneven stone slabs and mud. I pulled in slowly. My tires slipped a little, then caught. The headlights hit the front of a house. Small, 1 story. Wood siding gone gray with weather. Windows dark. Porch sagging slightly. No car in the gravel lot. No motion lights. The porch light was on though. Bare bulb, faintly orange. Like someone had painted over it. I parked and stayed in the car for a second, engine running. The food smelled good. Fried rice and sweet sour something. It felt too normal. Like it didn't belong in this place. My chest was tight, like the air was thinner here. I looked around. Nothing moved. Not the trees. Not the shadows. I opened the door, foot hitting the ground with a crunch that sounded way too loud. Bag in hand, I walked up to the porch. The boards creaked, not under me, but behind me. I turned fast. No one there, but I swear I heard breathing, just for a second. Froze. Waited. Nothing. I walked the last few steps to the door. No doorbell. No welcome mat. I placed the bag down on the wooden chair by the door. Exactly like the instructions said. That's when I saw the photo taped to the inside of the window. A printed photo, Inkjet style. Slightly curled. It was a picture of my car. My exact car. Parked at the foot of the driveway. Headlights on, taken from inside the house. I staggered back a step. How the hell I hadn't been here long enough for anyone to take that. It was printed, taped, waiting, which meant they knew I was coming, maybe before the order even went through. I turned back toward the car, heart pounding. Keys in my hand. Footsteps crunching too fast. That's when I heard it. Creak. This time not from the porch. From under it. Like someone had shifted their weight. Beneath the boards. I stopped cold. Then, a low voice. From the crawl space. It whispered, just loud enough to hear. Don't go back that way. I didn't move. I couldn't even breathe. I crouched, trying to see into the dark beneath the porch. Nothing but blackness. Then I heard something else from deeper in the woods behind the house. A low rumble. Not a car. Not an animal. It sounded like another voice. Far away. Repeating my name. I ran, full sprint to the car. Jumped in. Slammed the lock. Reverse lights on. Tires slipping in the mud. I turned around the best I could. Headlights cutting across the trees. And that's when I saw him, standing at the edge of the driveway. Right where the woods began, a man. Tall, thin, shirtless. His skin was pale. Not white, gray. He stood perfectly still, except for his smile, too wide. Too still, not like a person. Like a mask. He lifted one arm. And pointed, behind me. I whipped around in my seat. Eyes wide. Nothing there. Just trees. Darkness. I turned back. He was gone. Just gone. I peeled out down the gravel road. Fishtailing. Praying not to land in a ditch. The GPS still said turn around. Over and over, until it stopped speaking altogether. A few minutes later, I saw headlights. Another car. Thank God, I slowed, waving them down. It was a dark SUV, older model, dusty. It pulled alongside me. Driver's window down, the man inside leaned out. Gray beard, flannel, looked normal. Everything okay? He asked. I started to explain. Delivery, GPS, guy in the woods. Photo, but he cut me off. You shouldn't be out here at night, he said. His eyes weren't unkind, just tired. 7 Birch Lane doesn't exist, he added. Not anymore. I frowned. What do you mean? I was just there. He shook his head. You were somewhere. But it wasn't here. He looked past me, down the road I'd come from. Listen, he said, his voice low. If your GPS ever tells you to turn around out here, you do it, fast. No questions. And don't stop for anything. Not mailboxes. Not houses. Not people. He hit the gas and drove off. No plates. No brake lights. Just gone. I eventually found a main road again. Took 2 hours and 3 wrong turns. Didn't sleep that night. Couldn't. The next morning, I checked the map. No road called 7 Birch Lane. Google had no listing for that address. My Delivery app had no record of the order, like it never happened, but I still had the photo folded in my glove box, the one taken from inside the house of me. It's been 3 weeks since that night. I haven't taken a single delivery since. I told my boss I needed time off. He didn't ask questions. Maybe I looked like hell. I felt worse. I can't sleep. Not really. I keep waking up around 2:37 a.m., drenched in sweat, convinced I hear someone walking just outside my apartment. I live on the 3rd floor. At first, I tried to rationalize it all. Maybe I misread the address. Maybe I took a wrong turn. Maybe the photo was already there and just looked like my car. But here's the thing. I checked my dash cam. The file was corrupted. Only that night. All footage from 8:42 p.m. to 11:09 p.m. Gone. Just static. But not just static. At the very end of the clip, there's one single frame that flashes for half a second before cutting out. It's a face. Not mine. Mouth open. Eyes rolled back. Gray skin pulled tight like plastic wrap, and it's pressed up against the passenger window, looking in. I should have deleted it. Instead, I started pausing it, frame by frame, staring at the image until my eyes hurt. I've never seen that face in real life, but I feel like I have, like it's been watching me from places I don't think to look. I'll catch a glimpse in reflections. Black windows at night. My TV when it's off. Just movement. A shift. Nothing I can prove, but I know it's there. And I know something followed me back. A week after it happened, I started getting mail. No return address. Inside the first envelope was another photo. Of me. This time, I was asleep. My face half buried in a pillow. Sheets pulled halfway up. My phone on the nightstand, glowing. The angle was from inside the room. Live alone. Every lock was still locked. The next envelope came 2 days later. USB drive. I almost didn't plug it in, but I did. It contained one video file. 30 seconds long. Grainy black and white footage. Night vision. It showed me at my front door, holding Chinese food, except it wasn't from the night of the delivery. It was 2 nights ago. I hadn't gone anywhere. I'd stayed home. But there I was, knocking on my own door, silent, face down, holding a delivery bag. Then, I looked up. The man in the video. The me that wasn't me. He looked into the camera. His face was slack, mouth slightly open, like a puppet waiting for a command. Then he whispered one word. Not to the camera. To me, turn around. I started sleeping with the lights on. Even in the shower. Even during the day. Didn't help. I'd leave the apartment just to sit in my car with the doors locked. Just to be somewhere else. Once, I thought I saw him, that pale man from the woods, standing outside the gas station across the street. Not doing anything. Just standing, staring, like he didn't know what else to be. But when I blinked, he was gone. I tried reaching out online. Reddit, forums, even old conspiracy threads. Every time I typed up the story, my connection would drop. App would crash. Phone would restart. Every time. Until one day, I got a message. No username. No profile picture. Just this. It starts when you don't listen. When it says turn around and you don't, I replied, "Who are you?" No answer. Then 20 minutes later, a new envelope slid under my door. It held a Polaroid. A picture of a dirt road. Tree dash line. Empty. My car in the distance. Barely visible. And written on the bottom, "You never really left." That's when I stopped trying to fight it. I packed a bag. Got in my car. Started driving. Didn't even check the map. Just followed whatever roads felt right. Dirt roads, back roads, roads I couldn't find on GPS. I passed mailboxes with no numbers. Gates hanging open. A voice in my head kept whispering, "Turn around." But I didn't. I kept going, and eventually, I saw the house again. It wasn't in the same place. Not the same road, but it was that house. Same porch. Same sagging roof. Same orange light. Same food bag sitting on the chair. But this time, it wasn't from the restaurant. It was a brown paper bag. Labeled in black Sharpie, "For you." I got out. The trees were silent. The air warm and wet again. Breath on my skin. I walked up the porch. Inside the bag, one thing. A photo of a porch. Me. Standing on it. But this time, the photo was taken from above. Through the ceiling. Like someone was right over me. Watching through the floorboards. I looked up. And I saw it. A hole in the porch roof. Just a few inches wide, and something moved past it. Something. Pale. Long. Fingered. Flesh. That didn't look like flesh. I backed away, fast, tripping. Over the steps. I made it to the car. Breathing hard. Didn't start the engine right away. I just stared at the GPS. Waiting. And eventually, it lit up. The route loaded. It said, "Continue on 7 Birch Lane. Estimated arrival, 2:37 a.m. I checked the map. There was no endpoint. No destination. Just a red pin in the middle of nothing. I put the car in drive, and I kept going, because I think I understand now that it doesn't want you to arrive. It wants you in motion, following something that isn't there. Something that watches you while you sleep, whispers to your GPS, takes your face. Makes deliveries in your name. The first time I delivered to the farmhouse, everything was normal. Weird vibes, sure, but I felt weirder. Middle of nowhere, long dirt driveway, no streetlights, but whatever. The address was valid. Tip looked solid. Order was hot. 2 cheeseburgers, no pickles. 1 chocolate shake. Large fries. The kind of stuff you'd expect from a teen pulling a late shift. Not an old house with boards over half the windows. But when I got there, the guy seemed normal. Maybe 35. Faded hoodie. Big eyes like he hadn't slept in days. He opened the screen door before I even knocked. "You're fast," he said. "Thanks." He didn't smile, but his voice was calm. Flat, almost like he was reciting something. I handed him the bag. He handed me a $20 tip in cash. "Drive safe," he added. I turned to leave. That was it. I didn't think about it again. Until the next night. Same app. Same exact order. Same address. Same instructions. "Please leave on porch. Don't knock." It was weird, sure, but sometimes customers hit repeat. Maybe they liked the food, but when I pulled up this time, something was off. The porch light was already on. And the food, I swear to God, was already sitting there. In the exact spot I'd left it the night before. Same bag. Same little grease stain on the bottom. Cold. Untouched. I knocked. After a few seconds, the door opened. Same guy, same hoodie. Same face, but he looked confused. "You already delivered here," he said. His voice was slower this time. Like he was trying to solve a puzzle in real time. I blinked. Yeah. Last night." "But you ordered again?" He stared at me for a long time. Too long. Like he didn't know what I was talking about. "I didn't order anything," he said finally. "But the app. No one's ordered from here in days." Then he looked down at the bag I had in my hands. And the one still sitting on the porch from yesterday. He reached forward slowly. Touched the cold bag like it might bite him. Then he looked at me. "Did you deliver this tonight?" "No, that's from yesterday," I said. "I brought this one." I held up the new bag. Fresh, warm. His eyes widened. He didn't look scared, exactly. Just hollow. Like something had fallen out of him. "Leave it," he said, backing up. "Just leave it and go. Man, you sure you're okay? This is the second. Just go." He closed the door. I left the bag next to the cold one and walked back to my car. Halfway there, I turned around. The porch light was off. That night I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about that guy's face. The way he looked at the food like it was something dangerous. Or familiar in the worst way. I told myself it was nothing. Sleep deprivation, burnout. I'd been doing back-to-back delivery shifts for weeks. But then night 3 came, same order. Same address. Same message, leave on porch. Don't knock. Except this time. The app showed the order came in just 2 minutes before I got it. That's not normal. Usually there's prep time. 15-20 minutes minimum. But it popped up in my queue like the food had already been made. Like someone had preloaded it into the system, waiting for me. And yeah, same restaurant. Same food. They said the guy called it in directly. When I got to the farmhouse this time, I didn't get out of the car right away. The porch light wasn't on, but there were 2 bags, sitting out front now, stacked, one slightly molded, one just soggy. I stepped out slowly. Air felt heavier tonight. The kind of thick, humid air that feels too still. Like the whole world is holding its breath. I approached the house. I didn't even make it up the steps, because the door opened before I knocked, and the guy, same guy, was already standing there, waiting. Like he'd been listening. Already delivered here, he said again. Same tone. Same cadence. Like he was reading it off a script. I know, I said. This is the 3rd night in a row. You good? He didn't answer. Instead, he stepped out onto the porch, slowly, like he wasn't used to walking. That's when I noticed something. He wasn't wearing the hoodie anymore. He was shirtless. And his chest. There were bruises. Faint but spreading. A pattern of dark finger-shaped marks. Like someone had grabbed him hard. Repeatedly. He followed my eyes, looked down, and pulled the hoodie on fast. Like he'd forgotten he wasn't wearing it. Then he looked at the bags. All 3 of them now, and said, quieter this time. It keeps ordering. My stomach dropped. What does? I asked. He shook his head. I didn't press anything. I didn't even open the app. But it shows up. The receipt. The confirmation. The knock at the door. Every night. He looked at me. Dead in the eyes. I don't think it's me ordering anymore. I took a step back. Dude, maybe call someone? A friend? Police? I tried, he whispered. They don't come out here. Not after dark. Not anymore. And then he added, you should stop coming here. I didn't say anything. Just left the bag. I got in the car and reversed out of the driveway. Fast. Didn't even turn the music back on. When I got home that night, I checked my phone. The delivery app showed 5 completed deliveries to that address, but I'd only gone 3 times. The 4th order? Placed 2 hours before I'd even started my shift. The 5th? It was still in progress. Active. And assigned to me. Even though I was already home, I called the help desk. Spoke to a guy named Aaron. He looked up the order history. There's nothing showing for that address, he said. Are you sure you didn't deliver somewhere else? I sent him screenshots. He was quiet for a long time, then said, ugh. What did the house look like? Old, gray, broken windows, porch. Another pause. He said, can I call you back? He never did. The next night I didn't work. I turned the app off. Left my phone face down. I still got the notification. Delivery request from hidden. Estimated arrival, 11:13 p.m. No cancel button. No decline option. Just a loading spinner. The address? Not shown. But under restaurant, it just said, you already delivered here. I should have blocked the app. Deleted it. Thrown the whole phone out. Instead, I turned off my notifications. Moved it to a folder I never opened. Thought I could ignore it into going away, but that night, I woke up to my phone buzzing like it was about to explode. 11:13 p.m. Same time as the last delivery. No alert on the screen. No text. But the screen was glowing white. Just white. Then the audio kicked in. I didn't even have the app open, but I heard the voice, the exact robotic tone the GPS uses in the delivery app. Arriving now. You already delivered here. I dropped the phone. It didn't stop. The voice repeated it, over and over, until I powered the phone off completely. I didn't go in the next night. Or the next. Didn't work. Didn't drive. Just stayed inside. Lights on. Blinds shut. But I couldn't stop thinking about the guy. The bruises. The porch. And those bags. Piling up. On the fifth night I gave in. I didn't get an order request. I just went. On my own. I needed answers. Maybe to see if he was okay. Maybe to prove it was all in my head. I don't know. But I drove. It was already dark by the time I hit the dirt road. The farmhouse stood exactly as it had. Maybe a little darker. A little quieter. As I pulled up the drive, my headlights caught something. The porch. It was covered in bags. Not 3. Not 5. But dozens, stacked, scattered, molded, greasy, bags from different places. Some not even from restaurants I recognized. Some so decayed they were just paper mush. I parked. Got out slowly. No lights on in the house. I walked up the steps, crunching over bags. And then I saw him. Inside. Through the window, standing in the same place he always did. But this time, he didn't open the door. He didn't even move. He was just standing there. Face pale. Hands limp at his sides. And in the dim light behind him, I saw something that made my chest go cold. Another version of me. Standing beside him. Same jacket. Same hair. Holding a delivery bag. Just staring. No expression. I backed away, tripped on a bag. Fell off the steps. I hit the dirt hard. Got up. Ran to the car. As I drove off, my headlights passed a tree, and someone was standing behind it. Watching. Tall. Hunched slightly and wearing my jacket. That night, I didn't sleep, didn't move, didn't breathe right until the sun came up, when I finally passed out sometime after dawn. I had a dream, or maybe it wasn't a dream. I was back at the house. Only this time. I opened the door. I smiled at myself, and I said, "You already delivered here. But you forgot to leave." I stopped working altogether after that. Changed my number. Moved in with a friend. Got a part-time job at a bookstore across town. Weeks passed. No deliveries. No app. No strange dreams. Then, one night, last night, I came home late. There was a bag on my doorstep. Greasy, tied, no receipt. Inside, 2 cheeseburgers. No pickles. 1 chocolate shake. Large fries. Cold. Exactly like the first order. I checked the cameras. My roommate has a ring can. No footage. Just a glitchy gray screen from 11:13 p.m. to 11:19 p.m. No one seen approaching. No person. No vehicle. But when I paused the feed at 11:16, there was a frame. One single flash. Me. Standing at the door, holding the bag. Smiling. I don't know if the house is still there. Or if it ever was. I don't know if the man inside was ever real. Maybe it was me. Maybe it's always been me. But something is repeating. Over and over. A loop I can't break. And now, it's not waiting for me to show up. It's bringing the delivery here. The first time I saw her, I thought she needed help. Or maybe I just didn't want to admit I was scared. It was just past midnight. I was wrapping up my Uber shift for the night. Last ride, already halfway back toward home. Roads were empty, quiet. The kind of rural stretch outside of town where the streetlights thin out, and you start to notice how dark the world really is. Then I saw her, walking along the shoulder. No phone out. No flashlight. Just walking. Barefoot. She didn't wave me down. Didn't even look at me. Just kept walking like she wasn't cold, like the gravel wasn't cutting up her feet. My first instinct was to keep going. People don't just walk out there unless something's wrong, or they're wrong. I slowed down, rolled the window down halfway. Hey, are you okay? She stopped. Turned. And smiled. Too fast. Too wide. I didn't mean to, but I flinched. There was something off about it. Not the usual kind of creepy. It was too much. Her mouth stretched too far. Like the smile got there before the rest of her face caught up. Still, she looked normal enough. Early 20s. Pale skin. Straight black hair. Gray hoodie. Kind of pretty, honestly, if I hadn't seen her face twist like that. Can I get a ride into town? She asked. Voice flat, soft, like a machine trying to sound polite. Sure, I said, unlocking the doors. Hop in. She got in the back seat, shut the door quietly. No smell. No cough. Just stillness. The car felt smaller with her in it. Like the air got thinner. We drove in silence for a few minutes. I glanced at her in the rear view. She was staring straight ahead. No phone, no fidgeting. Just sitting perfectly still, hands in her lap. You okay? I asked. She nodded just once. Thanks for stopping, she said. No one else did. Her voice was soft, but every word felt precise. Like someone reading a line they didn't write. No problem. You live nearby? No. Silence again. Then, I've been walking a long time. Something about the way she said it didn't sit right. Like she wasn't just talking about tonight. About 5 minutes in, I noticed something weird. The rearview mirror. She was still staring straight ahead. Still and stiff. But her smile had come back, wider than before. I didn't see it happen, it just was. Suddenly, she wasn't smiling in real life. Not from what I could tell. But in the mirror? Grinning, full teeth. Stretching her cheeks back. Like her reflection was reacting to something I hadn't said. I looked back over my shoulder to check. Her face. Totally neutral. Back to the mirror. Still smiling. And now, the reflection was looking at me. I slammed the brakes. Not hard. Just enough to make the moment break. Sorry, I mumbled. Thought I saw something. She didn't react. Just blinked. Still smiling in the mirror. I like your car, she said. It felt like the wrong thing to say. Too casual. Like small talk from someone who's only ever heard it in movies. Thanks. You should get the mirror fixed though. What? She didn't answer. But in the rear view, her smile dropped. At the same time. She started smiling in real life, like the two versions had swapped places. Something was seriously wrong. I didn't know what yet. But my skin was crawling. She wasn't acting drunk. Not high. Not scared. Just rehearsed. Like she knew what this scene was supposed to look like, and she was playing her part. I told myself to keep driving. Drop her off in town. Let it be a weird story for later. But the roads were empty. The streetlights gone. I hadn't seen one in 10 minutes, and my GPS? Frozen, blank screen. Not no signal. Not recalculating, just nothing. I cleared my throat. Where exactly do you need to go? She tilted her head slightly. I already told you, you didn't. Yes, I did. Her tone didn't change. Still flat. Still polite, but my hands were sweating now. No big deal. I can just drop you at the gas station, I said. Someone there can help. You're not going to make it there. The words were soft. Not threatening. More like a fact. I glanced at the rear view again. She wasn't smiling anymore. But the reflection? Now it was wider than before, like it was enjoying this. I turned down a side road, hoping to get somewhere familiar. But everything felt wrong. The trees were too thick. The road too narrow. I hadn't passed this stretch before, but it felt like I'd been here all night. Hey, I said, my voice a little shakier now. Do you know this area? Yes, she said then, but not from driving. Something clicked. A memory I didn't know I had. I'd taken this turn before, not tonight. Not even recently, but it was there, in the back of my head like a splinter. The trees. The slope of the road. The way it curved sharply to the left just ahead, and the drop. I hit the brakes hard. The car skidded slightly. Gravel spinning out beneath the tires in front of me. Maybe 20 feet. The road just stopped. Steep drop off. No signs. No guardrails. No warning. Just open air. Like a cliff had been carved into the world. Without notice. She leaned forward between the seats. Not fast. Not sudden. Just leaned. Slowly. Close enough that I could smell something on her breath. Not rot. Not perfume. It smelled like wet dirt. She whispered. You remember now, don't you? I didn't answer. I couldn't. Because part of me did. Curved. The drop. A memory of headlights. Screaming. Cold. Water. I turned around. There was no one in the back seat. But in the rearview mirror, she was still there. Smiling. She was still there, in the mirror. That same crooked smile. Not wide like joy. Wide like something that had to stretch its mouth to fit the shape of a human face. But when I turned around again, the back seat was empty. No sound. No door click. No shuffle of movement. Just air. Cold and heavy. I blinked hard. Slapped my cheek. Gripped the steering wheel like I could crush it in my hands. Nothing. No one. But in the mirror. She tilted her head like she was still watching me, still waiting. I put the car in reverse, heart hammering. I needed to get back. To town, to a gas station, to light. Anywhere but here. But as I backed up, I noticed something that hadn't been there before. A road sign, just behind the tree line. Covered in grime. I squinted at it through the mirror. Only 2 words. Last time. That's all it said. No arrows. No speed limit. No names. Just that. Last time, I turned the wheel fast, nearly sliding off the shoulder. The gravel popped under the tires as I sped back the way I came. Except, this wasn't the way I came. I knew that immediately. The trees were wrong. Closer now. Hanging lower over the road. The branches curled inward like claws. No stars in the sky. Just black. And the silence? Too deep. Like even the night had left. 5 minutes. 10 minutes. 15. Still driving. Still no turnoffs. Still no lights. And then, out of the corner of my eye movement, passenger side, I turned just enough to see her. She was back. Sitting in the seat like she'd always been there. Calm. Pale hands folded in her lap. But her face was different now. Still her. But wrong. Like I was looking at a photo of her that had been photocopied, warped slightly by memory. Eyes too far apart. Nose too thin. Smile not there. She was serious now. Almost sad. You forgot, didn't you? She said. Voice low. No longer flat. Now it had weight. What are you talking about? I asked. I could barely hear my own voice over the blood rushing in my ears. She looked at me, and for a moment, she looked normal. Human, real. Then she said, You've done this before. You've done this so many times. My hands tightened on the wheel. What do you mean? You see the curve. You forget. You try to take it fast. Her eyes dropped. Her hands flexed once. Then you wake up here. She looked back up, and I'm always in the back seat. I almost screamed. Almost stopped the car and bolted into the woods. But something in me knew it. Wouldn't help, because she wasn't lying. Some part of me deep. Buried, remembered. Remembered the curve. The drop. The way the wheel jerked when I panicked. Crunch of metal and the sound of glass exploding. And my own voice screaming her name. Wait, her name. I slammed on the brakes again. We skidded to a stop. Silence that followed felt heavy. Like I'd broken something. She was gone. Passenger seat empty again. But the mirror didn't lie. In it. She was standing in the middle of the road behind the car. No longer smiling. Just watching me. I got out. Slowly. Turned around. She was there. Real now. Not just a reflection. Feet bare. Hoodie soaked. Like she'd just pulled herself out of a river. She looked tired. I opened my mouth. But she shook her head. You have to remember, she said. I don't know you, I whispered. Yes. You do. She stepped closer. You promised me a ride. That night, we were going home. Closer. You took the turn too fast. You told me it was your fault. But then, closer, you forgot. She was just a few feet away now. I waited. I always wait. Until you start seeing me again. Until something breaks through. Tears welled up in her eyes. You said you wouldn't leave me in that water. Then I remembered. Everything. Her name was Katie. She was my girlfriend. We were driving back from a wedding. I was tired. I wanted to get home. I didn't slow down at the curve. I woke up upside down. Half in the river. My seatbelt saved me. Hers didn't. They pulled her out hours later, face pale. Water in her lungs. I'd told the cops I didn't remember. Maybe I didn't want to, but she remembered, and now. So did I. I'm sorry, I whispered. My legs gave out. I dropped to my knees on the gravel. She stood in front of me, angry. Not vengeful. Just waiting. I don't know how to fix this, I said. You don't, she replied. You just have to stop running it again. I didn't know I was. You always come back. The app, the car, the road, you forget me. You see the smile. And then we start over. She reached out a hand. Her palm was cold, but solid. I took it. The world flickered. The trees fell away. The sky opened, and I felt the car slide off the edge again. But this time, I didn't fight it. When I opened my eyes, I was back in the car. Alone. Parked in front of a small roadside memorial. Flowers. A photo. A name I didn't recognize at first. KDM. 1997 to 2022. Underneath. Forever waiting for the one who left too soon. The air was still. The road ahead was clear. The mirror? Empty. I started the engine. And for the first time in a long time, I drove away, without looking back. We don't get a lot of weirdos at the Taco Bell where I work. I mean, drunk college kids? Sure, stoned construction dudes ordering $40 of Doritos Locos at 1 a.m. happens every shift. But actual scary weird? Nah, not really, until last Thursday night. I was on drive-through. Midnight to close. That's the worst shift, not 'cause it's busy, but because it gets too quiet. You're just stuck there, half awake, headset on, listening to static and wondering how long the last guy's cigarette butt is gonna smolder in the parking lot before it finally dies. It was just past 1:30 a.m. No cars for like 10 minutes. Then I heard the ding. One car in line. I glanced up at the screen. Just said, drive through to one vehicle. I hit the headset. Welcome to Taco Bell. Go ahead with your order whenever you're ready. Silence. Static. I waited. Still nothing. So I said it again. Hey there, whenever you're ready. Then I heard it. A kid's voice. Soft, almost polite. Hi, can I get a taco? Pause. And a Baja Blast? I froze a second. Not because of what he said, but how he said it. Like he was learning the words as he spoke. Too slow, too spaced out, not slurred, not sleepy, just wrong. Sure thing, I said. Anything else? Silence. Then, do you have napkins? Yeah, I said. Okay, the voice replied. I'll come to the window now. No confirmation, no payment, no total. Just that dot, like a recording dot. The car pulled forward a few seconds later. Black sedan. No plates. The headlights were off, which already made my skin crawl. But then I saw the driver. A kid. 12, maybe 13. Who'd pulled up. Pale skin. Way too thin. Like one of those kids in old orphanage photos. He didn't even look at me as he pulled up. Just stopped the car, staring forward, hands on the wheel like he'd been frozen there. I leaned toward the window. Hey, totals $4.32. No reaction. I said it again. Louder. Nothing. I was about to say screw it and just hand him the food when he turned his head slowly. And that's when I saw it. No eyes. Not injured. Not hollow sockets. Just smooth skin where eyes should have been. Like someone had molded over his face and forgotten to finish. I jumped back from the window so hard I knocked the headset off. Hit the ground behind me. Everything inside me screamed to run. But when I looked back up, the car was gone. Just gone. No engine. No lights. No tire squeal. Like it had never been there. The monitor still showed a car in line. But the window? Empty. I didn't tell anyone. Not my manager. Not the cops. I didn't even go outside to check the lot. I just stood there, shaking, heart pounding like it was trying to escape my chest. Eventually, the screen cleared. Drive-through, 0 vehicles. Like it knew. Next night I almost called off, but I needed the hours. And a part of me wanted to believe it was a hallucination. Stress. Lack of sleep. So I came in, normal shift. Then 1:30 am rolled around. Ding. Drive dashed through. One vehicle. I froze, took a deep breath, pressed the headset button. Welcome to Taco Bell. Silence. Then softly, can I get a taco? I should have walked out right then. Unplugged the headset, grabbed my keys, and never looked back. But I didn't. I stood there, one hand hovering over the headset button. Mouth dry, and I said, go ahead. Same pause. Same quiet voice. One taco. One Baja Blast. Napkins, please. My hands were shaking, but I tapped it into the screen. The order went through like normal. No system glitch, no error. Just a routine late-night combo, except I already knew what was coming next. I'll come to the window now. I peeked out. The car was there. Same black sedan. Still no plates. Same kid. 2. But this time he was smiling. Lips tight, corners stretched. Like the kind of smile someone wears when they're pretending to be friendly but don't understand how faces work. His hands were still at 10 and 2. But he wasn't looking ahead anymore. He was looking right at me. No eyes. Just smooth skin. But somehow, I knew he was looking. I backed away again. This time I didn't wait. I ran into the back of the kitchen. Heart in my throat. Bathroom. I mumbled to my coworker. I didn't go to the bathroom. I stood in dry storage, behind the mop buckets, listening to my own breath and the buzz of the overhead lights. A few minutes passed. Then my phone vibrated in my pocket. One text from a number I didn't know. It said, "You forgot my napkins." I quit the next day. Didn't even put in notice. I just never went back. But the drive-through didn't forget me. 3 days after I quit, I stopped at a gas station a few blocks from the Taco Bell, just grabbing water and snacks. As I was pulling out of the lot, my phone buzzed again. Another unknown number. I'm next in line. That's all it said. I didn't respond. But when I glanced up at the gas station security mirror, the curved one above the pump, I saw the back seat of my car. He was sitting there. Still, silent, smiling. I spun around. No one but the mirror, still showing him. That night I didn't sleep. I kept checking all the windows, all the mirrors. Every time I passed a screen or a reflection, I saw movement. Once I walked past my TV off, unplugged, and saw a glimpse of someone sitting at my kitchen table. Just for a second. The next night, it got worse. I woke up at 1:32 a.m. Every light in my apartment was on. Never leave the lights on. I walked into the kitchen, and on the counter was a Taco Bell receipt. Printed, crumpled slightly like it had been in someone's pocket. 1 taco, 1 Baja Blast, napkins. No store number. No TIMESTAMP. Just my name on the top, like I was the one who ordered it. Stopped sleeping after that. Stopped going out. Started covering every mirror in my place. And for a while. It worked. Until last night. I was watching an old DVD on my laptop. Something dumb to distract myself. But halfway through the movie, the screen froze. Audio cut out. And then a familiar ding played. Drive through one vehicle. On my laptop. Not a program. Not a video. Just white text on black screen. Then the speaker crackled. His voice came through again. "Can I get a taco?" I slammed the laptop shut. Threw it across the room. It didn't matter, because the microwave beeped in the kitchen. I hadn't touched it, but the screen read, "Ready, 1:33. Then a knock at the door, not loud, just soft, deliberate. 3 taps, like someone gently reminding me they're still waiting. I didn't answer. Didn't breathe. The knock didn't come again. But a minute later, I heard paper sliding under the door. I crept forward. There, on the floor, another receipt. But this time it didn't list any food. Just one line. "Let me in. I moved out this morning. Didn't even take everything. Just a duffel bag. Wallet, phone, changed my number. Switched cities. New apartment, no mirrors, but part of me knows. It's not over, because as I was setting up my new phone, a notification buzzed. No apps installed. Just one alert. From unknown. It said, "Window. Please." And when I glanced at the dark glass beside me, there was a reflection, a shape in the back seat. Smiling. Waiting. She didn't open the door right away. I stood in that hallway holding a warm bag of food, shifting my weight, waiting for something. A sound, a footstep, anything. Nothing. Then, after maybe 30 seconds, the door opened just a crack, and I saw her eye. Bright blue, wide, too wide. She stared through the gap for a moment before saying, "You're early." Her voice didn't sound surprised or annoyed, just neutral. "I think the restaurant was slow tonight," I said, trying to sound casual. "Left a few minutes earlier than usual." She didn't reply. Just stared at me through the gap. I cleared my throat. "Got your chicken shawarma bowl, extra garlic, no onions, and Diet Coke." Still nothing. Then the door opened fully. She was in her late 40s, maybe early 50s. Short blonde hair, pajama pants, thin t-shirt with a faded band logo I didn't recognize. Her posture was stiff, shoulders pulled back, arms hanging loose at her sides like she wasn't sure how to hold them. Behind her, the apartment was dark. No lights, just the TV glowing from the far end of the room, too far away to light anything properly. The whole place smelled faintly like lavender air freshener, and something metallic underneath. I held the bag out. She didn't take it. Instead, she smiled. It wasn't a creepy smile, not at first. Just a little too long. Like she was waiting for me to say something else. Then she said, "Would you mind stepping inside for a second?" Every alarm bell in my body went off. I wasn't new to delivery. I'd been doing it for almost 2 years. People invite you in sometimes. Usually drunk, sometimes flirty, occasionally just lonely. But something about the way she said it felt rehearsed, like she'd been practicing the question all day. I shook my head gently. "Sorry, I'm not supposed to. Company policy. You won't get in trouble," she said softly. "I just need someone to talk to, just for a second." Her smile didn't change. Neither did her posture. I held the bag out again, just wanting this to be over. She didn't take it. "I don't even want the food," she whispered. "I just didn't want to be alone tonight." That sentence. It was the way she said it. Like a line in a play, like she'd said it before. Not to me, but to someone. I looked down at the receipt just to break the moment. The name read Heather L. No apartment number. Just a unit listed as 3F corner. We were on the 3rd floor. That checked out, but the name didn't match the delivery account. On the app, it said Mark D. Mail, late 30s, and the delivery instructions were totally blank. Something was off. Did someone else place the order for you? I asked carefully. She blinked slowly, then nodded. Yes, my son. Another pause. Then, he lives out of state. He wants to make sure I eat. I stared at her for another second. Her eyes looked glassy now, like she was about to cry, but her face hadn't caught up yet, and something in me cracked. I'd had a lonely mom once, before she passed. She used to call me 3 times a day just to hear my voice. So I stepped in. Just 1 foot, just past the doorframe. I can stay for a minute, I said. That's all. Her smile deepened, but she still didn't take the food. Inside, the apartment was colder than it should have been. Not freezing, just chilly, in. That way that makes you realize no one's opened a window or run the heat in days. The only light was still from the flickering TV across the room. The screen showed static, not a movie. Not a show, just black and white fuzz. She walked slowly toward the couch and sat down, tucking her legs under her like she'd been waiting for a guest all evening. I stood awkwardly in the doorway. You can sit, she said, gesturing toward the recliner across from her. Please. I didn't sit. I kept the bag in my hands. Do you really not want the food? I asked. She looked at the bag like she'd forgotten it was even there. I already ate, she said. I just needed someone to fill the room. My stomach twisted. There were no signs of food in the apartment. No takeout containers. No wrappers. The kitchen was spotless, empty, almost. And that metallic smell? Stronger now. Like old pennies and dust. She stared at me. I stared back, and for a second, the silence between us felt unbearable. Like we were both holding our breath. Then she said, Do you believe in repetition? I blinked. What? Patterns, she clarified. Loops. Things happening the same way, over and over. Like the world is stuck. Sure, I said slowly, I guess. She smiled. Do you think people can get caught in them? Something about the way she said, caught, made my chest tighten. I looked down at the bag again, just needing to break eye contact. That's when I noticed something I hadn't seen before. The receipt was torn, not ripped, cut, cleanly. Half of it was missing. The part that showed the order number and the timestamp. Ma'am, I said quietly, how long have you been here? She didn't answer, just stared, then whispered, long enough to forget how I got in. She said she'd been here long enough to forget how she got in. And that's when I finally decided I needed to leave. I stepped back toward the door. I really should go. I've got a couple more deliveries in the queue. She didn't look upset. She just nodded like she'd been expecting it. But then she said, that door won't open for you. I froze. My hand had just touched the knob. I turned it anyway. Locked. Not just locked. Like sealed. There was no give. No click. Nothing. It was like the door didn't even exist anymore. I turned back toward her, heart suddenly slamming against my ribs. Is this some kind of joke? She didn't move. She just tilted her head, watching me. You're not the first, she said softly. They all try to leave. I walked to the window, yanked the blinds up. No city lights. No buildings. Just black. Like the window looked out into a wall of ink. I touched the glass. Cold as ice. No reflection. I backed away, panic rising in my throat. I need to go, I whispered. She smiled again. That slow, too long smile. You're already staying. I dropped the food bag. I didn't care anymore. My mind was scrambling to make sense of what was happening. I was just delivering, I said. Someone ordered food. No one ordered anything, she interrupted. Her voice had changed, softer now. Almost sad. I send the order through. Every time. A different name. A different meal. Something easy, comforting. She looked at the floor. They always bring it. I felt dizzy. The walls felt closer. Like the apartment was shrinking around me. You don't work for the restaurant, I said. She shook her head. I haven't eaten in years. I ran for the hallway. There was a second door near the bathroom. It wouldn't open either. I tried the coat closet. Same thing. The air smelled stronger now, lavender barely covering something wrong. Like stagnant water. And rust. I was breathing too fast. I crouched down, pressed my hands to the floor just to feel something solid. That's when I saw them. Fingernail marks in the wood, near the baseboards. Dozens of them. Some shallow, some deep scratches, scrapes, like someone had tried to claw their way out, like multiple someones. I just wanted to talk, she said again behind me. I turned. She was closer now, not in a jump scare way, just closer, like she'd been there the whole time. And I hadn't noticed the space between us was gone. I don't remember what it's like to talk to someone who doesn't fade, she whispered. I'm not staying, I said, backing up. My throat was tight. You can't keep me here. She smiled wider. I'm not keeping you. Then she pointed at the floor. Near the door. At the food bag I dropped. The receipt had uncurled. My name was printed at the top. Not the name on my app. Not my account name. My full name. First, middle, last. I never gave it to anyone. You brought yourself here, she said. You always do. My head spun. My heart felt like it was skipping beats. No, I said. No, I was on shift. I took the order. You don't even remember clocking in today, do you? She asked. I stopped. She was right. I didn't. I couldn't remember opening the app. Or accepting the order. Or driving here. Just arriving. Like the first memory of the night was standing outside her door. That's when the lights flickered. The TV crackled louder, still static. But now there was something else in the white noise. A voice. I couldn't make it out. But it sounded like my own, repeating something over and over. Let me go, I whispered. The woman stepped backward, sinking into the couch like she was falling into water. Next time, she said. Maybe next time it won't be you. I turned toward the front door one last time. And this time, it was open. Not swung wide. Just slightly cracked out enough to see the hallway light leaking in. I didn't wait. I ran through it, heart in my throat. Breath raw. I didn't stop running until I reached the stairs. Then the lobby. Then the street. No sign of her. No building name. No unit number. I checked my phone. No order history. No delivery app. Running. No missed calls. Looked at the receipt still clutched in my hand. It was blank. Just a grease stain in the corner. I don't take nighttime deliveries anymore. How? I barely take day shifts. I still see her face sometimes. Not scary. Not monstrous. Just empty. Lonely. Practiced. Like someone who spent years learning how to mimic people. Just enough to keep you there a little longer. The first time I saw him, I thought it was just my brain playing tricks on me. It was past 11 p.m. And I was halfway through a delivery run, coasting down a long stretch of highway outside town, one of those quiet, two-lane roads where the trees press too close, and there's no shoulder for miles. I just dropped off a pizza at a farmhouse that looked abandoned until the porch light flicked on. One of those weird, no eye contact deliveries where the guy takes the food and slams the door before you can say thanks. Anyway, I was heading back when I checked my rear view and saw someone running behind me. Not on the road. Not in a car. Running. Barefoot. Shirtless. Pale. His arms were pumping too fast. And his legs weren't moving right, like each step was too long. Like he didn't have bones where he should. At first, I figured I'd picked up a shadow in the trees. A trick of the light. Maybe even a reflection. But then I glanced again, and he was still there. Same distance behind me. Keeping pace. I was going 4-5. I hit the gas. Up to 60, 65. Checked again. He was closer. Still running. Still no shoes. Face too pale to be real. I couldn't see his eyes. Just a blur of features stretched wrong. But I could feel it. He was staring at me. I panicked. Cranked the music. Told myself not to look again. I looked. Again. He was gone. Just trees. Just empty black road. I didn't stop driving for 30 more miles when I finally got back into town. I parked in a Kroger lot and sat there, engine off. Hands locked on the steering wheel. It was probably a hallucination. Stress. I'd been doing too many double shifts. Not eating right. Barely sleeping. I laughed it off eventually. Called it a highway ghost and even typed up a half-assed Reddit post about it before deleting it. But 2 nights later, it happened again. Different delivery. Different route. But still a late-night run, rural road. Full moon overhead. I was just crossing an old bridge when I saw something move on the shoulder behind me. Glanced in the rear view. Same guy. Same dead sprint. Except this time, he was wearing my face. Not kind of like me. Not look-alike. Me. Same hoodie. Same hat. Same stupid patchy beard. I keep telling myself I'll shave. I look down at my own hands on the wheel. Still me. Still solid. Still real. I looked back. He was smiling now. I pulled over hard, full stop. Tires screeching. Jumped out with my phone light on, ready to confront anyone. There was no one there. No sound. No footsteps. Just wind and trees and the faint smell of something burned. I walked to the back of my car. Shined the flashlight across the road. Nothing. But when I looked at my back window, there was a handprint in the condensation. Smudged. Too big to be mine. After that night, I stopped driving out of town. No more country roads. No more late shifts. I stuck to the suburbs. Kept to daylight runs, but last weekend, I took one wrong turn. Just one. And ended up on that same highway again. I was almost past the tree line when the radio cut out. Dead silence. Then static. Then under the noise, a voice. Mine. You shouldn't have looked back. I swerved off the road and puked into the ditch. When I climbed back in, the rear view mirror had fogged up completely, but someone had drawn something in it. Just one word, written with a fingertip. Run. That fogged mirror stayed blank for about 5 seconds. Then the word run smeared itself into visibility, like someone was dragging their finger from the other side of the glass. I didn't think. I slammed the car into drive and floored it back toward town. Didn't check the rear view. Didn't blink. Just drove. I made it to a 24-hour gas station on the edge of town. Sat in my car for 20 minutes, engine running. Hands glued to the wheel like I'd forgotten how to let go. The attendant eventually came out and knocked on the window. I rolled it down 2 inches. You good? He asked. I opened my mouth to lie, to say something, anything. But then he frowned. You okay, man? He said again. You look like you've seen a ghost. Or worse. Then he squinted. You sure that's your car? My stomach dropped. What? He pointed. I could have sworn someone else was in the driver's seat when you pulled in. I left without answering. Didn't go home. Just drove in circles for hours. Drove until the sun came up and the fog on my mirror finally cleared. There were no words on it anymore. But the handprint? Still there. That was 3 days ago. I haven't worked since. Can't eat. Can't sleep. Every time I close my eyes, I see him again. Me. Running barefoot through the dark, gaining on the car. Getting closer. And here's the worst part. It's not just the rear view anymore. Now I see him in reflections. Shop windows. Rear view cameras. Security monitors at the grocery store. Sometimes it's just the top of his head. Sometimes a flash of my own hoodie slipping out of sight behind me. But sometimes I see the full face. Mine. But wrong. Too pale. Too stretched. Like it's trying to wear me, and it always looks tired. Like it's sick of running. Last night, I woke up at 3:09 a.m., no reason. Just awake. My room was dark, but not empty. I could feel it. That pressure. That sense that someone's standing exactly where they shouldn't be. I didn't move. Didn't breathe. But eventually, I sat up. And in the hallway mirror across from my bedroom. He was there, staring in, not at me, but from inside the glass, wearing my hoodie, bleeding from one eye. Smiling. I covered every mirror after that, even my phone. Taped over the front-facing camera. Turned off the dash cam. But this morning I got a new delivery request. I haven't used the app in a week, but it came through anyway. Customer. Unknown. Order. 1 delivery. You. Destination. Look behind you. I didn't accept it, but the timer didn't run out. It's just still there. Still ticking. Counting up. Not down. I don't think he's trying to kill me. That would be too easy. I think he wants to take my place, and maybe he already has. Just not all the way. Maybe every time I glance into glass or chrome or a puddle. I'm looking at the version of me who didn't stop. The one who kept driving that night. The one who never looked away. A few minutes ago, I took a photo of myself. Just to prove I was still here. Still real. But in the picture, I'm smiling. I didn't smile. And behind me, blurry in the background, is someone else, wearing my jacket. Barefoot. Smiling wider. The neighborhood looked normal. Not creepy. Not abandoned. Not even run down. Just regular. A row of identical houses with trimmed lawns, American flags, and porch lights glowing that soft amber kind of light that makes everything feel safe. That's probably why I didn't hesitate. If it had looked off, broken windows, no cars, sagging roof, I would have thought twice. But this place? It looked like every other house on the street. Almost too normal. I was delivering from a local sub shop. Just a quick Tuesday night run. It was barely 9 p.m. Still early by delivery standards. Order was simple. 1 turkey club, 1 root beer. Extra mustard, prepaid, no instructions. When I pulled up to 1628 Willow Drive, the porch light flicked on, like it was motion censored. A good sign. Meant someone was home. I grabbed the bag, walked up the steps. The door opened before I could even knock. A man stood there, smiling. Mid-40s, maybe. Tall, short brown hair, khakis, and a tucked-in shirt, like he'd just gotten off work. Nothing off about him at all. Hey. Right on time, he said. I smiled, handed him the food. Thanks for ordering. Then I noticed the kids. 2 of them. A boy and a girl, both under 10, peeking out from behind their dad's legs like shy little shadows. They looked up at me, wide-eyed. Silent. I waved. The girl blinked but didn't move. The man chuckled. Sorry, they get excited when people come to the door. Not much going on in the neighborhood lately. I nodded awkwardly. All good. He handed me a $10 bill. For the trouble. Thanks. Appreciate it. He stepped back inside. The door closed. That should have been the end of it. Just a nice family ordering dinner on a Tuesday. But the weird part started after. On my way out of the neighborhood, I passed a city truck pulled onto the curb. One of those beat-up white utility pickups with orange cones in the back. A city worker, high-vis vest, clipboard, headlamp, was walking along the sidewalk, shining his light at houses, checking numbers. I slowed a little, rolled my window down. Everything okay? He looked up, confused. Yeah, just doing final checks. Code enforcement stuff. I nodded. Gotcha. Then he pointed at the bag in my passenger seat. "You delivering food out here?" "Yeah, just finished one," I said. "Which house?" I pointed. "That one right there. 1628. His face changed. Not alarmed, just unsettled. "That house was condemned last year," he said. I laughed. "Nah, man. It's totally fine. Family lives there. 2 kids. I just dropped it off." He frowned. "You sure it was 1628? "Yeah, dude literally met me at the door. Porch light, cash tip, everything." He stared at me for a second too long, then said, "That house is boarded up. No power. We haven't had a permit pulled on it since 2022. I didn't believe him. I even circled the block again just to prove it. But when I passed the house again, the porch light was off. No cars in the driveway. No sound. No movement. And the front window. It was boarded shut. Not freshly. Not like it had just been done. Like it had been that way for months, maybe longer. I stopped the car in the street and just stared at it. The number 1628 was barely hanging by one screw, crooked on the siding. The front door was splintered and padlocked. Like no one had stepped through it in years. I swear to God, it was the same house. Same address. Same porch. But the man, the kids, the lights, gone like they were never there. I drove straight home that night. Didn't take any more deliveries. But when I emptied the passenger seat, I noticed something stuck under the bag. A napkin. Folded. Written on it, in neat, childlike handwriting. "Thank you for bringing him dinner. He gets hungry when it's dark." I barely slept that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw the man smile. Not evil, not even creepy. Just too normal. Like he was pretending to be normal. And the kids? They weren't acting scared. They were acting like they were being watched. Like they were afraid he'd stop smiling. By morning, I had convinced myself I needed to see the house again. In the daylight. In the real world. So I drove back to Willow Drive. Parked across the street. It looked even worse in the sun. 1628 was clearly abandoned. The siding was warped. Porch steps crumbling. Weeds growing up through the cracks in the foundation. The windows weren't just boarded. They were nailed shut from the inside. I got out of the car. Walked up to the porch. There were no footprints. No marks from my last visit. No sign anyone had stood here the night before, except for one thing. Crumpled receipt lying near the door. I picked it up. It was from the sub shop. My handwriting. My order. Same time estamp. But the item list was different. Instead of a turkey club, it said, 1 meal for him. No onions, no interruptions. I backed off the porch fast. Got in the car. Started the engine. I should have left, but something inside me, that same thing that makes people slow down at crash sites, needed to know what the hell happened here. So I made a mistake. I started asking questions. I went to the city clerk's office that afternoon, pulled public records on 1628. Willow. They didn't give me much, just that it had been condemned last November after a fire damaged the interior. No fatalities listed. Just extensive structural loss and an uninhabitable interior. I asked if anyone had ever lived there since. The clerk shook her head. "It's been boarded ever since," she said. "Neighbors said they used to hear noises, but our inspectors didn't find anything. No power, no squatters. Probably just animals. What kind of noises?" She hesitated. Then, like she regretted saying anything at all, she whispered, "Children, crying, asking for food." That night, I drove past the house one more time. Just once. Just to be sure. I shouldn't have, because this time, the porch light was on again. Faint, yellow, flickering. And standing behind the front window, in the one gap between the boards, was a kid. Same girl as before, staring straight at me. Mouth open. Not moving, just open, like she was trying to scream but couldn't. I didn't sleep at all after that. Didn't go back. Blocked that entire side of town from my delivery app. I told myself I imagined it. But the next morning, there was a bag of food on my doorstep from the sub shop with no receipt. Inside was a turkey club, extra mustard no onions and taped to the inside of the lid. Written in that same handwriting as before. He likes you now. The first time the doorbell rang, I didn't think much of it. It was just after 2 a.m. And I was finishing the closing shift at a little pizza shop on the edge of town, the kind of place that stays open way later than it should because the owners too stubborn to let go of the after-bar crowd, even though we never get more than 3 customers past midnight. I was alone. Manny, the guy who usually closed with me, had left early. Sick or something. So it was just me, wiping counters, counting the drawer, waiting for 2:30 to lock up. And that's when I heard it. Ding-dong. Soft, electronic, just like always. I looked. Up. Nobody at the front door. No headlights in the lot. No footsteps. I waited a few seconds. Checked the security cam. Nothing. Just the empty walkway, lit by that one flickering sign above the door. Probably a glitch in the bell, I told myself. Old wiring. Faulty sensor. I went back to wiping down the prep table. The next night, it rang again. Exactly 2:13 a.m. Same sound. Same delay. Same nobody there. That time, I paused the camera feed, rewound, and I saw it. One frame. Just one. A shape. Standing just outside the door. Blurry. Thin. Like someone tall hunched down. It was gone on the next frame. Like it had never been there at all. I didn't tell anyone. Part of me knew how it would sound. Sleep-deprived closing shift guy hears ghost doorbell. Yeah, right. But the next night, I recorded it. I set up my phone facing the front door. Hit record. Let it run. At 2:13 a.m. The bell rang. I jumped, even though I expected it. I ran to the front, phone still recording, and opened the door fast. Nothing. No wind. No sound. No car. I went back, stopped the recording, and played it. And in the video, right before the bell chimes, there's a voice, just barely above a whisper. Let me in. I tried to convince myself it was a prank, a Bluetooth speaker. Some kid messing with me. Something rational. So I checked the security footage. Again. Same thing. One frame, a face this time. Pressed against the glass, wide eyes. Gray skin, mouth open like it was mid-scream, but no sound. Gone the next second. The fourth night. I stayed near the front, waited by the register with my phone in one hand and a box cutter in the other. 2:13. I'm right on time. Ding-dong. I flung the door open. Nothing. But this time, something was different. The smell. It was faint, like burnt oil and wet copper. And the floor mat? It had footprints, bare feet, too long. Toes spread unnaturally wide, like someone had been standing there too long and started to melt into the rubber. I wiped them away. Threw the mat out, locked the door early. Didn't sleep when I got home. The next night was a Friday. Manny was back. I didn't tell him anything, but I made him stay through close. I needed someone else to hear it. We were finishing trash duty when I casually said, "What time is it?" He glanced at his watch. 2:12. I stared at the front. 2:13. Ding-dong. He jumped. Looked at me. Dude, was that the door? I nodded slowly. He walked to the front, looked out the window. Nobody here. But when he opened the door, he froze. Bro. I rushed over. Sitting on the ground was a pizza box. One of ours, but we hadn't made a pizza in over an hour. It was hot. I opened it. Inside, written in sauce across the cheese, "Feed me." After the pizza box with "Feed me" written in sauce, Manny wouldn't stay past midnight anymore. He didn't quit, Just swapped shifts with someone else. Said he wasn't feeling the vibe after dark. I didn't blame him, because after that night, it got worse. For a couple of nights, the doorbell didn't ring. Nothing happened at 2:13 at .m. No sound. No knocks, no mystery pizzas. Just silence. But that silence felt wrong, like it was waiting. Then. 3 nights later, the bell rang twice. Ding dong, ding dong. Still at 2:13. This time I didn't open the door. I just stood behind the counter, breathing shallow, watching the reflection of the front door in the cooler glass. And I saw it. Not in the doorway, inside. A shape, just barely visible behind the chairs in the dining room. Long, thin, standing like it was too tall for the room and trying to shrink down. Its arms weren't right. Too long, hanging past its knees. I turned around fast and nothing was there. But the reflection still showed it, standing still, watching. I tried to quit the next day, but my boss wasn't having it. "We're already short," he said. "You're one of the only closers I trust." I told him I didn't feel safe. He laughed. "Dude, it's a pizza shop. What's gonna happen? The pepperoni ghosts show up." I didn't explain. How do you tell someone? There's something ringing the bell every night, and I think it wants to come in. That night, I taped the door shut. Literally taped it, from top to bottom with duct tape. Like I was sealing in a crime scene. I locked it. Put the open sign away. Turned out the lights. Then I waited. 2:13. A.M. Ding dong, ding dong. Ding dash dong. 3 times now. I stayed in the back. Crouched behind the sink. No footsteps. No knocking. Just the sound of something scraping across the front windows. Like fingernails on glass, slow, deliberate, dragging. And then it spoke. It wasn't a voice exactly. It was like the sound of air being pushed through a throat that didn't know how to speak. "You let others in." The words were wet. Wrong. Like it wasn't asking. It was reminding me. I covered my ears. When I looked at the security feed, the front door was still shut. Still taped. But the inside camera showed footprints. Black, greasy smudges. Moving from the counter toward the back hallway. Heading toward me. I blacked out. Or maybe I fell asleep from sheer fear. Either way, the next thing I remember, it was morning. The shop looked normal. No footprints. No box. No door damage. But when I looked at the duct tape, it was ripped from the inside. Clean split. Like something had peeled it back, quietly, and stepped through. I've tried to quit 3 more times since then. I even got another job lined up, warehouse gig. Better hours, but I can't leave. Not really. Every night around 2 a.m. I feel it. Even when I'm not at the shop. My phone buzzes. No caller ID, just a timestamp. 2:13 a.m. Sometimes I answer. There's never anyone there, but I can hear breathing and a bell ringing softly. In the background, a few nights ago, I came back to the shop after hours. I don't remember why, I just felt pulled. The lights were on. The oven was running. And sitting on the front counter was a pizza box, still hot. Still steaming. Inside, the cheese had bubbled into a shape. A face. Mine. Eyes wide. Mouth open. No sauce. No toppings. Just cheese. Stretching into a grin. I haven't opened the door in weeks. Not at 2:13. Not ever. But it still rings. Every night. Always the same time. Always one ring more than the last time. Last night, it rang 12 times. And tonight? It's already 2:12. I don't think it wants food anymore. Think it wants me. And part of me wants to open the door. Not because I'm curious, but because I think I already did once. And now, I'm stuck repeating the part where I decide. Over and over again. The second I pulled off the main road, I knew I shouldn't have taken the delivery. It was one of those late night ones that just feel wrong from the start. Cash tip, vague address, no profile photo, no order notes. Just a single word in the address field. Clearing. It pinged as rural, way out near the state park, past any cell towers, past streetlights. Just dirt road and dense woods. I should have canceled it, but it had a $500 cash tip flagged on the account. Which is insane. No one tips like that. Especially not on a single order, just a burger, fries, and a black coffee. I figured it was a glitch. Or maybe some rich guy with a cabin who forgot to pack snacks. Either way, I needed the money. Rent was coming up. I'd been eating leftover garlic knots for 3 days. So I went. The sun had just dropped when I turned off the highway. My GPS showed me crawling deeper into the woods, down a narrowing gravel path that eventually stopped rendering on the map. Still, the arrow kept going, just floating over blank green space. Then the signal cut out. No bars. No WI-V. Just that sickening silence your phone makes when it doesn't know where you are anymore. I drove another 10 minutes down the path. No signs. No houses. Just trees pressed in close, blacker than the night sky behind them. Then the headlights hit something up ahead. A figure, standing completely still at the edge of the road. He was tall, maybe 6'5", barefoot, gray hoodie, pants that looked wet around the cuffs. He didn't wave me down. He didn't say a word. Just waited, slowed the car to a crawl, and rolled down the passenger side window. "You order food?" He nodded. Reached into his OODI. My gut clenched. But instead of a weapon, he pulled out an envelope. Thin, folded in half. He held it out toward me with 2 fingers. I hesitated, then took it. Before I could even say anything, he smiled, not a normal smile. Not friendly. Thankful. Like I'd just done him a favor he couldn't explain. Then he pointed behind him, into the trees. Just once, and walked off the road, not onto a path, not toward a driveway, just into the woods. I leaned forward, trying to follow him with my headlights, but he disappeared between the trees like they swallowed him whole. No flashlight. No sound. Just gone. I sat there, engine running, heart pounding. Then I opened the envelope. Inside, 5 crisp $100 bills, a receipt. And a napkin with something handwritten in ink. "Don't follow. He's not done chewing." I stared at it for a long time. The handwriting was shaky, smudged in places like it had been written quickly, or by someone with shaking hands. The receipt matched the order: burger, fries, black coffee. Timestamp: 1 hour before I'd even accepted the delivery. I turned the car around fast, backed out of that gravel road like it might collapse behind me. Didn't look in the mirrors. Didn't check the woods. Just drove. But the further I got, the more I realized something was wrong, because I never passed a turnoff, never passed a gate, a house, a mailbox. There was no reason that man should have known I was coming. He hadn't walked out of a cabin. He'd just been waiting right at the edge of the woods. Like he knew exactly when I'd arrive, and something else was gnawing at the back of my head. Even stronger, his feet. They weren't just bare, they were clean. I didn't sleep that night. I locked my doors, left all the lights on, sat in the living room with the envelope in my lap and the napkin laid flat on the table. "Don't follow. He's not done chewing." I must have read that line 50 times. Who was he? What was he chewing? And why had the guy smiled like I'd done something important? By sunrise, I almost convinced myself it had been some weird loner in the woods, a survivalist or reclusive millionaire with money to burn. Maybe the napkin was just some inside joke, but that didn't explain the receipt. An hour before I got the order, printed and folded neatly inside the envelope, like it had always been there. That afternoon, I took the envelope to the bank to deposit the $500. The teller flagged the bills, said they weren't fake, but they were older than they should have been, issued in 2006, with a printing code that hadn't been in circulation since before mobile ordering even existed. When I asked her what that meant, She just shrugged. Could be they were in storage a long time, or she lowered her voice. Some people bury cash, dig it up when they need it. That night I couldn't resist. I drove back out to the edge of town. Not to deliver anything, just to see if the road was still there, and it was. But it wasn't on the map, didn't show up on GPS, didn't even have a name on Google Earth. It was just there. Like the woods had grown around it without permission. I didn't drive down it. I just sat at the entrance. Looking. Listening. And I swear, just for a second, I heard chewing. The next few days, I avoided that whole side of town. Turned down every delivery that pinged in that direction. Didn't tell anyone what happened. Kept the napkin in my glove box, folded in half, like a charm against something I didn't understand. But then, a new order came in. Same platform, same burger, same fries, same coffee. No tip listed this time, but under customer notes, it said, "Thanks for bringing it." He's still hungry. And the drop-off location? My address. I canceled the order immediately, shut off the app, uninstalled it, reinstalled it. Still there in my recent history. I called support. They said the account that placed the order didn't exist. Must be a spoof, the guy said, or a system glitch. I asked if they could trace where it came from. He said no, then paused. Actually, he added, that account name sounds familiar. Give me a sec. I waited. Then the line went dead. That night, I came home to find a bag of food sitting on my doorstep. Same burger, same fries. Coffee, still hot. No receipt this time. Just a napkin. No writing on it. But something had bitten through it. 3 neat punctures. Like teeth, the edges were wet. I threw the bag in the trash. Didn't eat. Didn't sleep. But just before sunrise, I looked out the back window and saw something standing at the edge of the woods behind my apartment. Still. Watching. Too far to make out clearly, but I knew it was him. Or something wearing him. I left town the next day, packed what I could, moved back in with my cousin 2 hours north. New job. No deliveries, different town, different phone number, different everything. For a while, it worked. Until last week, I got a knock at the door. Just past midnight. I didn't answer, didn't breathe. But the next morning, a paper bag was sitting outside. Same smell, same order, same napkin, folded neatly on top. This one said, "You followed him. Now he follows you. I don't go near woods anymore. Don't take side roads. Don't answer knocks after dark." But it's not enough. Last night, I found muddy footprints in the hallway outside my bedroom, bare, wide, like someone had been pacing just outside the door for hours. I followed the trail to the front door. It stopped on the welcome mat. And right there, centered perfectly, was a tip, a single $100 bill, folded, lengthwise, crisp, newer than the others, like it had just been printed.